Oh man, we broke something. Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're jumping back onto the 440cc golf cart. So I've got the engine all removed here and I've stripped off that 40 series torque converter. So first thing I'm going to do is drain the engine oil and then we'll crack that case open and remove that governor. Alright, so before we jump into this, I just want to mention to you guys, this isn't a DIY video, this is just me pulling it out. So there's plenty of videos on the net of how to do this properly. And if you guys are doing this at home, definitely do it at your own risk. They can buy up these engines, but they do restrict, governors really do restrict these motors. So yeah, now I've got that engine oil drained, we can pull this front case off and hopefully get inside. And I think the governor is on this side, just from a couple of videos I've watched. Alright, so here's a close-up. I was actually able to maintain this gasket there, so that's good. So this is the actual governor that slides around or flings out, the weights fling out and grab this gear. So we'll have to try and bend these back and probably snip this gear off and crack those out. So in here we've got our camshaft, our crankshaft and our balancer shaft. So that's all pretty ordinary. And we've got our little spring here that our governor flings in by. So yeah, we'll be removing that and putting a bolt in with a flat washer on there. Alright, so down there is our low oil sensor. So this actually cuts the motor out if it was to roll over or something. So you actually can remove that bolt there. I'm going to attempt that and try and tap a hole in it. Otherwise we can just leave it in there, but you do gain a little bit of oil capacity while removing that. Alright, so that governor assembly came out really well. I actually could put that back in if you ever wanted to. So I just use these little circlip pliers and pull that, there's a little circlip down the bottom, got that out. And don't forget the washer at the bottom under here as well. Otherwise that'll cause some damage to your motor. So now I'm going to remove this assembly here. So that looks awesome there, it's all capped off. We'll have to change this linkage up a little bit, but I'll play around with that and show you guys later. So I'm just going to whack some new oil in this thing, some Penrite. They're not sponsored or anything, but it's really good quality oil. That's what I run in a 60. Different, obviously different synthetic, but yeah. So I don't have a funnel, so I'm just going to use some of the Supercharger box and tip it in there. Alright, this is the part I was really dreading, but it's actually quite easy. So I've got the throttle hooked up there now. There's not too much travel over there, but I think that should still work. So we're obviously going to hook the throttle up this way instead of that way. So everything's been sort of reversed. So as you can see, the little logo there, it's actually going to get slower on the logo, but it's actually flipped it around. So you might be able to see down in there, look down the back there. So we've got off and then full throttle. And I've just added that little spring there. Now I'm not going to spend too much time hooking up this accelerator. We're pretty much going to do one test drive on it and then try and put that supercharger on. So I'll hook that up and then we'll jump into wiring up the electric side and then we'll go for a ride. Alright, so after a little bit of playing around, I've got this thing dialed in. So as you can see there, I've got the cable back on the other way. Now I did add this bolt here just so we don't break off the butterfly on the carby. And that's the throttle there. Now it doesn't have to move much up there, but it actually does move a fair bit down there. So I reckon that looks pretty good. Now I don't think this will be permanent. If that supercharger works really well, we'll obviously be having some other type of carby. Yeah, next I want to jump onto just redoing all these electrics. Obviously this was for the old electric motor. So we'll gut all this out and I reckon we might even hook up that choke cable just temporarily, just so we don't have to pop the seat up every time we want to start it. Alright, so now onto the electrical side of things. So I've picked up this battery, it is a used one. It's about a 2014, but did actually load test alright, so I'll grab that from work. So we'll be able to put this in, we'll make an earth strap going straight down to the frame, and then we'll pair all of our electronics up under the dash there, and we'll obviously got to run a starter cable all the way over to the starter. So yeah, we can finally bolt this battery down with the hold down clamp that I made in a couple of videos ago. Alright, so as you can see, I've got my power cable there, earth cable's done, so the power runs down along the chassis and up to the starter motor, so that's there. Now we've got our magneto kill wire, we've got the pull-in wire for the starter motor, and this will be our ignition wire, so that'll go to the back of the switch. Now this switch has got two posts for the magneto, one of them I'm just going to hook straight to earth, and the other side will go to that white wire, so that'll just be mounted up in there. And as you can see, I have mounted up the choke cable in there, so that'll work nice. All right, so I've got the key all wired up. So what we've got here is our pull-in wire for the starter motor. We've got our magneto back down to the motor. We've got our earth feed and our power. Now here we've got a little 1 amp choke output, so we can put a choke on this carby that we put on if we want to, so we can do it that way instead of having a cable, or we'll just leave the setup that we've got. And we've also got an ignition feed, so we can put a stereo on this thing and some lights or whatever we want. So I'm just going to give this thing a little test. I've just taken the spark plug out. Alright, so that works well. We'll whack all this thing back together. I'll quickly hook that choke up and we'll go for a drive. Alright, so we have a half functioning choke. So I've actually moved the cable from up the top there down to here because it's actually a lot more level. Now I've added a spring here just to bring it back to the run position. Now this thing isn't permanent, but if it was, I'd probably just cut the top of the bracket off and sand it down and give it a coat of black. But yeah, we can still get to our fuel switch. I'll just try and pull it here. It is a bit stiff to pull. But it's much easier than popping the seat up. So yeah, I'm going to whack the body back on and we'll go for a quick drive. Alright, so I just took this thing for a really good rip and holy shit does this thing fly. Anyway, before I could get any footage of it, the bloody torque converter fell out. Our nut was only just holding on the thread, so I've actually got to get a new bolt for there. But anyway, damn. So I'm going to try and find this nut. Alright, all the way down into the driveway. There they are. So yeah, it wasn't actually grabbing on the blue part, so I'm going to have to get a longer shaft. But yeah, Go Power Sports are about $110 for the shaft, keyway, and 2 lock nuts delivered. So I think that's pretty pricey, but anyway, we're trying to figure something else out. So yeah guys, removing that governor is definitely unbelievable. It's so much different. But yeah, do it at your own risk, definitely, because you could blow the engine up. But yeah, I think today we'll just take it back in, and then we might just sit the supercharger on there and try and see if we can aim some pulleys at it. That alternator I was going to put on there is actually buggered. It didn't have any continuity in the armature, so yeah, we're going to have to try and find something else. But anyway. Oh, check this out. Jesus, that looks good. So, got that box tube mount welded on there. That's not permanent. It's not even in the right spot, but it's holding this thing up. So as you can see, the pulleys are slightly off. I will have to readjust those. I do have to tighten this one up anyway. So we do actually have heaps of room from the seat height to our top inlet. So that's actually going to be the inlet. I did spin this thing up. So yeah, we'll be able to just put a 90 degree, have our carby sitting out here, and then down the bottom I will have to move this whole thing forward as that bottom pulley is hitting the bottom outlet. So I'll just move this whole thing forward and that'll solve that. So yeah, we'll have to have our bottom tube running in and around and down to our inlet manifold, but that should be fine. We'll heat wrap some of that and it should all work all right. But yeah, this thing's obviously going to move with the engine, so we don't have to try and re-tension it when we're trying to tension the chains or anything, so that's good. And as you can see, it's pretty compact. Now, I don't know how we're going to tension this belt. I was looking at a little Kubota alternator, another little one, but they are pretty expensive, about 150 bucks. So yeah, I'll just have to see how we go with that. But I think we might be able to swivel this thing up and down and tension the belt anyway. All right, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap this one up here. We've got a lot done in today's video. So we've got the governor completely removed now, and this thing is an absolute beast. I do apologize, I did want to show you guys that, but it only lasted about 30 seconds, and then that torque converter fell off. Anyway, we've got the electric starter wired up now, so the next thing we'll be adding in the future will be a radio and some lights and all that once the roll cage is on. But yeah, I reckon that supercharger looks really good on there, so we'll definitely be working on that more in next week's video. I am actually ordering some more parts for this mini Jeep. I'm trying to line some stuff up. So yeah, while they're on their way, we'll just be working on the buggy. But I want to ask you guys, let me know down below what we reckon we should call this thing. I want to give this thing a nickname, so mini Jeep or overland Jeep or something like that. So yeah, let me know down below. I did put a poll out the other night on Instagram. And if you guys like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It really helps it get put out to suggested videos. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss anything. I'll see you guys in the next one.